Well, hello, Stampers. It's the Pampered Stamper, and welcome to a special edition of a video. This is supposed to be my Wisteria Wishes Zoom class, but Zoom was not cooperating at all, and no one showed up. So I thought, you know what? I am not going to mess around with Zoom. If anyone knows how to, um, I when I do a Zoom class, I have myself and then I have my phone. And my phone, I can spotlight, and then that's where I show the stamping. But I haven't found a way to make my phone be able to zoom in so that you can see things really close. I have to put my phone like 6 inches, not even like 4 inches from my desk, and then it's still not close. It's really strange. So, if anyone has some advice for me on that, that would be wonderful. Anyway, I want to show you a few things in this video that were not in the tutorial. So sadly, this Wisteria Wishes stamp set is no longer available, but it is gorgeous. And there's a few tips and tricks that I wanted to share with you. The first one is this stamp and this one. So this one is a threer and this one is only single. So it threw me off for a minute and I didn't realize that it was meant for the two of them to be used together. So I'm going to put my chamois under here, and then we're going to get going. Oh, I've got all my dies. I'm just going to put them away. I don't want them rattling around in there. And maybe I don't have to show you all that. You have the set, so and I can't sell it to you anymore, so there's no sense showing it to you so that you want to buy it. It doesn't make any sense. But I do want to show you how to use your stuff. So we need this one, and we need this single one. And I might even be using my Stamparatus, even though you can't buy it anymore, just to show you a trick that I used to do. And I think you might find it helpful. Okay, so we're going to pick this up, and then I'm going to stamp it in Highland Heather. Okay, so we've got our Highland Heather ink pad. And I'm stamping on my silicone mat. So there, I'm going to stamp it once, full strength, and then once, half. Okay, see how nice and light that is? Well, nice, you know, if you want it to be that way. And now I'm going to take the gorgeous grape for the little one. And then look, you can do that. You can also stamp off, see, and then you get a lighter, whatever you like to do. And then for this one, I'm just going to do it. That's the gorgeous grape stamped off. And now I'm going to do Highland Heather stamped off. So I'm going to just find a scrap here. Let's see. Here. And now, see how soft that is? So that's Highland Heather stamped off, and then it's the second stamp, Highland Heather stamped off. And look how pretty. And then if you didn't get it inked all the way, there. So it really does create a dreamy look. And then if you want to, and of course the dies go with that. So I knew I shouldn't have put these away. You can cut these out like so with the die. And then there's a leaf stamp that cuts out with this one. And then this goes on together. And I'll show you a card that does that. That's all shown in the tutorial. So that's not that important. This just shows you that simple stamp with the leaf. And it goes, those little lines are on that leaf stamp. So that's really great. Then I put a single die on here just to make it a little fuller. And then what you can do to step it up a notch is you can use your Wink of Stella brush. Give it a shake. Always give your Wink of Stella brush a good shake before you use it. And mine looks like it got really brown. So I don't know what's going on, but here. So you can do that. And it also makes your ink bleed a little bit. So you're going to get a softer look to your wisteria. You also can take your, either if you have this still, Shimmery Crystal Effects or a fine tip glue pen. Both will work. And you just go over top, oops, and you'll get a shiny wisteria that's kind of got a raised image. And that's also a really nice look. The only thing you have to do is you have to make sure you can leave enough time for this to dry. And I think I might just put this video right up on YouTube because may as well have lots of people enjoy it. It didn't seem to be an added value for people who bought the tutorial. So you just never know what works and what doesn't work. So we have that. That's the one thing I wanted to show you. The next thing I want to show you is the masking technique. I'm just going to close these up. I am going to be using Pear Pizzazz, even though it's a retired color. And what I did was I used, for our card, for our shaker card, we're going to be using this frame. And I'm using the cutout from this. Okay, so here we go. And now we have this great product. If I can find it. I thought I neatly stacked all the things that I needed on my desk, but my idea of neat is probably not the same as someone else's idea of neat. Okay, so here we have our Stampin' Up masking paper. It's 155,480. And it comes with, I think, 12 sheets. And then I'm just going to show you the back of it. The back of it has a slit down the middle to take the backing off. So I need 2 pieces like this. And then I'm going to leave the middle part open. Or I could do it this way, actually. I might do that instead. Okay, so I'll get my paper trimmer. This is a very, very fun and easy technique. So I'm just going to cut 2 pieces that are each 1.5 inches. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. I just ruined my window sheet. I didn't realize it was laying on my trimmer because you can see right through it. So it's a good thing you get a free one in every photopolymer stamp set that you buy. Otherwise, I would have been crying, I think. And yeah, so 1.5 inches. And then the other tip I have for you when you're using your masking paper is that it's actually quite sticky. And if you use it full strength, you might take a layer off your cardstock. So just put it on your hand or on the table, on something just to get the stick off. Just like so. Okay, now I'm going to put that. You want to make sure that it is straight across. You don't want your lines being on an angle. So if you do it on grid paper, that's not a bad idea. So again, put it on your hand, give it a good rub, and then peel it off. So I want to leave a section about that wide. There. And now we're going to take this little leaf right here, and we're going to do some collage stamping. And collage stamping just means that you're stamping over and over and over, and you're filling up a space with images. I love collage stamping. It's a fantastic way to make pattern paper. So full strength and then off. Now be careful when you go off, because now there's going to be a line. I'm going to stamp on here to show you. Oh, that wasn't even that bad. Of course not. So I'm going to do this one straight across. Oops. Do that again. There. So it's nice to get a couple of different colors. And then also make sure you turn your leaf in different directions. That's nice too. And then even softer. You can, and yes, I'm going to stamp off on this. Not sure how well that worked, but you can overlap too. There. There. I think that looks quite nice. And we're going to just pull it off. I think, you know what? I'm going to pause it for a minute. I'm going to show you another trick. I want to add a few dots. So I'm taking my Stampin' Blend. This is Granny Apple Green, the brush tip, and then you're going to use your bone folder and just tap. And then you should get some speckles, but I'm not getting any. Maybe my Granny Apple Green is dry. It works when you have a fresh one. Yeah, I don't know if I'm blind. I know no, there's not a single speck on there. This bothers me because I've never had that happen. Okay, I'm using a brand new Stampin' Blend. This is Pebbled Path. So, oh yeah, there we go. It is quite, it's not big blobs. It's a really lovely, gentle speckle. But when you see it, you're going to wonder, how on earth did people get it? It's so pretty. Here, I'll hold it up so that you can see it. It's very vintagey. So that's cute. So that's how I did the masking. And I'm going to peel this off. We'll see how it goes. When you peel it off, just gently roll it back. It's still amazing how sticky it is. You could use this again, but I find that it doesn't. Oh, see, look, it's taking the ink, it's taking the paper off there. So I could have done it once more on my hand. There. I caught it just in time. So take your time taking this off, but you can see how nice of a line that makes. And that's without even sponging. It's just a simple way. And in Europe, you pay by weight for your cards. And in Canada, it's by thickness of the card. So we can get away with more in Canada. So that's that one. And I'm just going to show you a finished card with that look. I did two. So I did this one here. This one has a panel of that. And then this one. And then for this one, I just put a die cut of the wisteria branch across the top. So let's have a look, see. I have that die cut. I just want to show it to you. There we go. Here. See, so I just laid it across. That looks nice too. Yeah. Anyway, I'm using that die cut for something else. So we're not actually going to turn this into a card. I just wanted to show that to you. The next thing is a show and tell. And it is, I'm first going, I die cut a bunch of wisteria's flowers. These are Highland Heather. And if you look carefully, you will see that they are not all the same. Okay, there are two different sizes. You see that? So I did them also in Gorgeous Grape. And you can see there's still a few little pieces stuck in my die cuts. And you don't want that, right? So we have a tool for that. We've got this foamy thing. And then we have a brush attachment for our take your pick tool. So that's really wonderful. So you can do it with the die still in, or you can do it later, and you just brush it and all the little bits come out. It's so much faster than just picking at it with a pokey tool. And it works really well for getting all the pieces out of your die as well. See, there's one left here. So what I wanted to show you was how you put those together to make a pretty flower. And that before I do that, I want to show you the difference between cardstock flowers and my technique flowers. So let's just do this for a minute. So when I make a card, I alternate. So I've got a different colored bottom and top, and then I put the opposite color on top, like so. And the way to do that, we might as well make them. I'm going to leave those like off to the side because I want to do a show and tell. I want to do a comparison. So you need your silicone mat again. And you need a little brush. I have a little baggie with brushes. Not brushes, sponges. And you need, I've got my die under here. I don't need that. Okay. So a little glue puddle. And then you take out your sponge. And as long as you keep these sponges in the little baggie, you can use them for quite a long time. When they become almost unusable, you can just trim them down. I'm going to have to bring some more from Canada. I've got whack loads of them there. And we don't sell them anymore. And they were really the best sponges because I thought, oh, you can get them at the dollar store, but they're not the same. They weren't as good. See, so you want them to be slightly offset. We'll do one more. And then The nice thing about using this technique is that you don't have glue oozing anywhere. And your silicone mat, you can just take it later and rinse it off in the sink. There. So, you know what? I'm going to do one more. And then I'll still have enough to show you my little secret trick. And now that I've seen wisteria in real life, it's truly spectacular at how well my trick imitates real life. There. See, and it doesn't matter. I haven't really, there's no right or wrong. You don't have to put that on in any specific way. You can do them all a little bit differently so that they look like different flowers. This you can just rub off too, and it just peels off like sunburned skin. Okay, are you ready for my fun flowers? Look at this. I'm just so impressed with these. I will zoom in so you can see them a little closer. Look. Do you see the difference already? Now this is my least favorite one because it looks like it's got a stripe going through it. And I could color wash over it, or I can, look, I can put this over top and then you don't see it at all. But these are really realistic looking wisterias. And the best part is that you don't even have to try hard. You can make a pretty ugly thing beautiful. So, and then the other thing I was thinking is that you could combine a solid with a watercolor if you wanted to. So that's the difference. So I'm going to show you how to make those flowers. And it's really simple. Although I must say I did stress out the first time I did it because I didn't think it was going to be good enough. Now you can use either shimmery white cardstock or watercolor paper. Now I would have used watercolor paper because we don't sell shimmery white cardstock anymore. But I don't have any watercolor paper in Holland. Sometimes I forget what I have in which country. It can be a little frustrating. So the first thing you're going to do, well, the first thing I'm going to do is clean off my silicone mat. Okay, my silicone mat is cleaned off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Stampin' Spritzer and I'm going to make it wet. And the thing is, you want to do it on both sides, otherwise it starts to curl. You can see that it's curling. So if you do it on both sides, then you don't get that curl so much. I'm going to lay it on my silicone mat. And then we're going to take 2 blocks. I'm just cleaning them off. I had stamps on my blocks. One is going to be Highland Heather, and the other one is going to be Gorgeous Grape. Oh. There, and I'm just taking the block and inking it up. Okay, so I have one, and I have 2. And then we'll start with just doing it the way it is, and then I'll show you another thing to step it up a notch. So we're going to take the big brush, and I like to squeeze it. It says push there. Oh, you can't see it. No, yeah, there. It says push. That's where you want to push. Now mine is leaking a little bit. So I'm going to start with a Highland Heather. I'm just making a wash here, and then look, but it's pretty light. So if I want to make it darker, and I might leave it like that, but if I want to make it darker, I just take a couple drops of re-inker, or 1 drop. There, just 1. You don't want to waste. And then make a little wash. There. See? And I'm just spreading it across. Then we're going to do the same thing with Gorgeous Grape. Make a nice wash. And you want a little bit of white, but not too much. And then we can spritz a little more because I don't think I have enough water on the edges. And then you'll get it to bleed a little bit more. Then you get a nicer look. But like I said, mine weren't looking pretty, and I was worried that it wasn't going to be nice. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And it'll still look great. And so yeah, this is good enough. you can either let it dry and walk away, like, and I saw this and I honestly thought, oh my word, this is not good. This is not good, Jackie. And it turned out just fine. And you know, you can spritz too to make it run a little bit more. And that gives it if you tap a little bit more water on it, you'll get an even different look. Not so much. But yeah, that's exactly what I did. And I was in a hurry, so I used my heat tool to heat it, and then I die cut them all. I'm going to rinse this off in the sink because you don't want to put this away like that. You want to rinse it till your brush gets about clean. Okay. Okay, we are going to start making the shaker card. So I had to get a new piece of acetate since it was laying on my trimmer and I didn't see it. It's going to be 4 1/4 by 6. So you don't want to leave your acetate laying around because it really does kind of disappear on you. But it does trim really well, so that's cool. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our frame. I'm just going to close up my, get my ink pad closed before I get more fingers into it. Yes, I said more fingers because one went in. It's not showing. There we go. See, I was giving myself the middle finger. That's not good. Okay, so all danger is now gone. And I have to find my frame. So you want to decide which side of your frame, which side of the embossing you want. And then, oops, I'm going to put tear and tape, like so. Press it down hard, and you want it all the way across because the tear and tape is going to hold your acetate on. And your acetate is going to hold on in your shaker stuff. So you don't want anything seeping out. So you want good, firm seams. Okay. And then I should have shown you how I made this frame. So it was 4 1/4 by 6. And then you take the second largest rectangle die. You just grab them here. That's this one. And then you just put that in the middle and you cut it out. And then you run it through the embossing folder. And I used our Basics 3D embossing folders. They are only, I think they're only available online. I don't think they're in the catalog. And this is the one that I used. I call it the crosshatch one. And there's a polka dot one and there's a floral one. They're really quite lovely. Okay. So now, the hardest part about tear and tape is to get that edge. You can use your pokey tool to do that. I usually stubbornly refuse. Don't ask me why. Why do I refuse to do that? Let's see if it works. It does work quite well. So sometimes I have to call myself out on my own stubbornness. The older we get, the more stubborn we get. I see that with my mother. I'm thinking, oh, and then Gerard teases me and says, are you going to be the same way? I'm like, no. There. Okay, it's sticking to my fingers. All right, so now we're going to take our acetate and carefully, it's exactly the same. I should have maybe made it a little bit smaller. There. So now we have our window. The next thing we're going to do is put in our adhesive strips. I promise everything was laid ready. Here they are. They're foam adhesive strips, 141825. I have some left here yet. I'm going to use those first. These are absolutely fantastic. Now my tip, my tip for you is to, when I made this first card, I only used one strip of this all the way around. And my shaker stuff started falling out. And once it starts falling out, it gets caught in between like, so then some of the shaker elements get caught between the card and the foamy thing, and that leaves a gap, and then more stuff starts spilling out, and then you no longer have much of a shaker card. So there are 2 of these for extra strength. I'm not putting I've got little short pieces left over, but I'm not using them there because they're not long enough, and I don't want to do too much piecing. So here, and then butt it right up against. You know what? That's going to go all the way down to the end. And you can always trim off those little bits with your scissors because that one's sticking out a little bit too far. Oh, you also want to keep the adhesive strip on the top intact because otherwise when you pour in your stuff, oh, you know what? I'm going to put that one on the edge. There. And this one's going to go on this edge. I wasn't looking what I was doing, I'm sorry. And this one, you kind of want to put it close to your edge because you don't want your shaker things going too far off the edge. Otherwise, you have to fill it up too much. Okay, we're going to get a new one. I'm going to get a new one because on my last strip, the top came off, which means it's not going to work very well. So you just kind of open it up on a new piece. You don't want that strip coming off. That's the thing. You know what? I'm just going to break this one off. The outside of these things is like a frame. And I don't know why they do that. It must be a manufacturer's thing. And this one is also skinnier than the rest. There. I know this is a bit tedious to watch, but that one's long enough. Good, good. Butt it up nice and tight against there. And then all the way across. And then there. You can just throw your little bits out. You'll save them and you'll never use them. Although you could use them as dimensionals. That's true. I shouldn't be encouraging you to throw things away. It's just that sometimes I keep things and then I end up throwing them away later after they've cluttered up my desk or my space for sometimes years. And that's silly. Okay. Tight up against. You want to make it as, I wouldn't say waterproof, but as tight as possible. Okay. Are we ready for some fun? Okay. Now we get to put in our pretty things. So I'm going to put in, I put in green ones for the illusion of greenery behind my wisteria. And then I did add a few blue ones because I thought, well, for the sky, let me just double check, did I? I did. Yes, I did add a few blue ones, but I don't think I'm going to add any pink ones. So a few blue ones. And then the best part, oh, you know what? I am going to add some pink. Why not? For spring. And then these are my absolute favorite. They are called effervescent elements. And they are like bubbles in a jar. Look. And they're heavier, so they shake around, they make a nice noise, and they help spread your sequins around. Okay, now the reason we did it this way is that none of this stuff stuck to my adhesive, and that's super important because as soon as you've got sequins or anything on your adhesive, your foam adhesive strips, then it's game over. You're not then you're gonna have spillage. Now I just have to trim this off here and here. There. Okay, the next thing I need to get a large Memories and More card and envelope. I don't know where these guys came from. They didn't want to miss out. Okay, so I have a large Memories and More card that I'm going to fold in half. And then this is a little bit, I think I'm maybe doing it backwards, but this is how I do it. I'm going to peel off all my backings very gently because I don't want to upset the stuff that I have in there, my shaker elements. We need them to stay right where they are. because once they get on those sticky strips, they like it. They do not like to come off. See, I can already see one in between there. One tiny sequin. And I'm going to try to get it out because it's bugging me. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's right there. There. Be gone. Okay, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to, there. Press hard. Okay, you really want this to, you don't want those sequins coming out. All right. Isn't that great? I'm super happy. Now, you'll see that it's not perfect. It's offset because it's not the same size. That's okay. You could, if it drives you crazy, you can trim that off. But look, no one's going to see that. This one isn't perfect either. And so the next trick, I'm going to keep right on moseying here. I have to find my wisteria branch again. Of course, it's missing. Well, we'll find, you know what, we'll get the things that we do know where they are. We need a bunch of these. I've cut 4. And let's see. I found the die. You know what, I'm thinking maybe it fell on the floor. I'm going to have a search. So the trick with this wisteria vine is that I find this one stiff. It just goes straight across. That is not how vines work. So you take your spritzer, and just move this out of the way, and you spritz your vine, and then you scrunch it up into a ball. And that weakens the fibers. But cardstock, Stampin' Up! Cardstock is strong. It doesn't wreck it. And then you can kind of twist it and rearrange it so that it's kind of like so. And since I don't have a lot of time, I don't want to sit here and wait. What we will do, we'll let it sit for a minute. And I'm just going to grab this one. So what we want to do is figure out how many of these are going to go across. So what I did was I trimmed off some of these little things that I didn't need, okay? And then I have one here at the end that's just this one. No, it doesn't matter. It's a single one. So we're just going to cut one like so. And have that one at the end. There. And that is it. I did it right. So that means I don't need that big end here either. So I'm going to cut that off. So you can adapt your dies to what you need them to be. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of liquid adhesive there, and we're going to put our vine down, even though it's a bit wet. And then we can manipulate it. Let's see, here we go. And I also don't want that vine stuck down all the way, so I want to put it here on the one end. There. And then over here on the other end. And then that's all I'm going to do because I want to be able to tuck things in between. There. See, so now it's not this straight thing. It's got a little more wiggle room. We're going to put that aside for a minute, and we're going to create a few more wisterias. And I'll do here. So we have to layer them on top of each other. A big one with a little one. And I have 5 altogether. So here and here. And they are really, I'm just so happy with these. I think they turned out really, really well. Okay. I'm going to put those together. You don't have to watch me do that. Okay, now it's time for the leaves. So, flattening my glue and sponging it on a little bit. There. And the next one. And I like tucking it in like so, but first we'll put the glue on. And I need to tuck it under. Oh, and you know what? I broke it a little bit. That's okay. You might not even have seen that. There. And then I'll trim off that branch later, this. And then we're going to put this one on the end. And then I'll have a look to see if it needs any more filler. And you know, the truth is that I bought this set because I love this leaf. That leaf is just so, so pretty. So before I put any more leaves on, I'm going to leave it like this for a minute. I'm going to trim this off the top. And then we're going to put our wisterias on. So I want 3 on one side and 2 on the other. So again, we're going to do our sponging. I need more glue. But you see how easy it was to make that shaker element. And that was the whole goal of this video, was to show you how to do that, because I hadn't done that, and showing it to you in a, I'm just going to pick up these leaves a little bit. See, because you don't want all your wisterias, you want them tucked under the leaves a bit as well. And then I had to do this one with a solid and with the watercolor underneath because I was missing one. I was missing a small one. You know what? It actually looks really nice. And I also want to overlap these a little bit. There. Oops. My fingers are sticky. Okay. Oh yeah, I've got a third one coming here. Okay, I want to go with a bit of a darker one now. Here. Maybe this card is going to be just a little bit different than the other one because I want it to be on that branch. That's more natural. When you copy somebody's card, no one sees the original, so they don't see what you were copying. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same. You can have a little artistic license. Okay. It's too bad I didn't use this one. I really, yeah, okay. That's the thing with these flowers, they're just so beautiful. So I want to put those 2 over here. More blue puddle. I use my silicone mat so often. It's great for hot glue as well, for other crafting projects. It's always nice when you can use your Stampin' Up! Supplies for other things. When my kids were in school, I used the alphabet dies a lot, and we now have a la mode alphabet dies, which are fantastic. And if you use them with our foam adhesive sheets, you get raised, strong alphabets, and that's great for science fair projects, I have to say. Let's see. Do I want this one tucked under the leaf a little bit? There we go. So there is our wisteria card. So now all we need to do is put a saying, and I want a big linen bow. See? So I'm going to see if I can find my bow maker so I can show you how I made the linen bow. Okay, I found my bow maker, which is here, but before I do that, I see that I want a little bit more greenery on this corner. So I'm going to add another one here. There, just wanted that. I know you're probably thinking, Jackie, you're crazy. That's okay. So here's the bow maker, and you can move the pegs as wide apart as you need to be. I'm using thin stuff, so I want my pegs fairly close together. So I'm just going to wrap it around 1, 2, 3 times. Yeah. And then make an X, like so. and then go around, and then you're going to tie it in a knot. Now, I've made the wrong one go around. I'm working backwards for myself, but that's okay. Tie it in a knot, or you can just actually tie it once, but I'm going to tie it twice. There. And then you slide it off, and then you have your bow. Look. How cool is that? You've got a nice fluffy bow. So, I don't have my ribbon scissors. Let's see how well these do. They did okay. So then we're just going to take a glue dot and put that on there. Glue dots are here. This has been a marathon. We're at 40 minutes and I made one card. Well, I showed you a bunch of other tricks too. There, I'm pushing it on the glue dot and I'm picking it off with my pokey tool, and there it goes. And then I found this saying, and I love it. Hope each moment of your day is as special as you are. And we'll pop that up with some dimensionals, and then our card is finished. Now, if you think that this is too frou-frou with the edges on it, you could just cut it off and make it plain. I kind of like the laciness of it. It reminds me of an old-fashioned porch and high tea and all those good things. And this card is fun, it's lush, and it's a special card for a special person. And this would make a great wedding card. There. And no seeping. So that's this one. And here is this other one. So you can see different shades. Every single card that you make is going to be different. And but you can see that this one was coming up a little bit. But I fixed it. I ended up taking this one apart and adding another layer of the foam adhesive strips, and now it's great. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sorry that the Zoom didn't work out, but I waited 5 minutes and no one showed up. So I know that life is busy. I know that sometimes Zoom can be hard to get on, especially if it's your first time. And sometimes the time change is tricky. So who knows? Life happens, and I'm just thinking now this video is going to bless a whole lot more people. So if you love the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my channel, because that makes me a very happy squirrel. I'm trying to grow my online stamping community, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. Have a super day. Bye.